What's up, everyone? It's Denise here. So, for us NXT fans, we have been talking a whole lot about TNA and NXT after the surprise turn of events with Jordynne Grace being Roxanne Perez's mystery opponent for NXT Battleground, which is happening in just a couple of days. So, we are going to be seeing Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez. So I know a lot of people have been thinking or wondering, like, hey, is there a possibility that WWE will be doing some sort of collaboration with TNA in terms of perhaps more matches, maybe an entire show? Who the hell knows, right? Well, I decided to do my very own fantasy booking of what matches I would like to see specifically with TNA talent versus NXT talent. So I'm being very specific here. NXT. I'm not talking Raw or SmackDown. I'm sticking with the NXT people. So what matches I would like to see if they did do some sort of crossover. Of course, I'm not going to include Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez because that's already happening. So this is the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it almost like if it was a pay-per-view and all the matches that I could see playing out in my head, at least in my head. Also, while I was doing this, I kept thinking to myself, thank God I am not a booker because this shit is hard. And of course, this is just for pretend and for shits and giggles, but let's do it. I'm going to tell you guys my card in the order of which I would present it on the show as well, who would go over and why I decided to book these matches. And in the comment section below, let me know, like, hey, Denise, why didn't you do this match or whatever? Or this is the match I would like to see. Or, hey, man, that's a really great idea. I'm glad you thought of that. Either way, I'm going to be keeping an eye out on your comments to see what you, the people, have to say. The show begins. What is my opening match? Well, most of you guys know that I like a really strong opener. In fact, I love it when big matches open up the show, especially when like it's the second most important match of the night. I don't mind when those kind of matches open up the show. So I am opening up my show with what I think would be a banger. Also, I'm kind of a sicko for putting this together, but it is for the NXT North American Championship. I would have Oba Femi versus Mike Bailey. So I know some of you guys are going, damn, Denise really is a sicko. But honestly, like I was thinking about this and what kind of a match would I want to see? I want to see shit that you just wouldn't expect. And obviously we know that Oba Femi is this crazy monster of a man. He's so freaking huge and he's meaty, he's hard hitting, he's a monster, right? Like he lives up to the size that he is. Mike Bailey, on the other hand, is like an extraordinary wrestler, of course, but he is also polar opposite of Oba Femi. They got two totally different styles. But dude, can you imagine Mike Bailey hitting all of his little kicks that he does at the speed in which he does, trying to take down the big guy in Oba Femi? I like these, David versus Goliath type matches, and I definitely see this one being freaking entertaining. So call me a sicko. I don't care. I need to see this match, and that is why I would book this match to open up my show. And of course, I'd have Oba Femi retain just for the simple fact that I wouldn't change an NXT championship on the pay-per-view, which maybe that makes me a little boring, but fuck it. That's just the direction I'd go in. Unless we were going to be seeing more than one show, then yeah, there's a good chance I would have Mike Bailey defeat Oba Femi. But just for the hell of it, I'm sticking with Oba Femi winning this dream matchups. All right. So moving on from that, of course, you guys know that the best thing of the NXT division is the women. So, of course, we're going to go to a women's match next. Now, TNA has also been applauded now for several years for their treatment of the women's division. And so for this particular matchup, I am going to go with NXT's Sol Ruca versus Dani Luna. Yeah, I know. Woo, you know what's up. Okay. Some of you guys are probably like, ooh, that's good. Well, I don't care what anyone thinks. I want to see this match. All right. So, Sol Ruca and Dani Luna. So the reason why I went with this particular matchup is because Dani Luna, she has been sort of, compared to Jordynne Grace. There are so many similarities between the both of them. And so Ruca, to me, she's like one of the girls on NXT that I truly believe is going to break out and become like a big star. She is going to have a similar journey like Tiffany Stratton, who we've seen really, really do well so far over on the main roster. And so Ruca, she's gorgeous. She's talented. She can do cool shit. And then you have Dani Luna, who's hard hitting. I want to see both of them collide here. And in terms of who I'd have go over, I would definitely give the win over to, this one's kind of hard because I feel like a lot of these, it's so easy for me to say NXT for the win, but you've got to give some to TNA as well. So for this particular one, I would say I would give it to Dani Luna. But I would make Ruca look like a winner in the actual body of the match. So there you go. Moving on, of course, I would do a TNA Wrestling versus NXT matchup. Now, this one was a little hard because you're going to be like, why the hell did Denise put all these people in this match when they could have been in singles matches? And yes, you're right. But the problem that I ran into when I was putting my dream card together was that, man, it's really lacking on the men's NXT side. And so I didn't want to do Ethan Page versus Moose. Like, that's been done. And I had some other people lined up for other people that you'll hear about later on in the show. So I kind of found myself with a lot of important people on TNA without any big matches. And so I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go ahead and do a TNA versus NXT matchup and put all of these big names from TNA and big names from NXT and just have them collide together. So you'll see a lot of champions in this matchup, which will kind of throw you off. But hell, this one will be like this would just be like the match with people you still want to see on the show, but I didn't have anything else for them. So, and I know everyone's going to be like, damn it, Denise, you should have booked this, and that, but whatever. This is my video. All right. So I would do over on the TNA side, I would do Moose, Mustafa Ali, Joe Hendry, and Laredo Kid, which again are all guys that could be having singles matches with other people, but the other people that I would book them against are already booked against somebody else. All right. And then for the NXT side, Lexis King, Sean Spears, Ethan Page, and Josh Briggs. So this would literally just be like, an 8-man and having all of these guys go in and get their shit in, have some fun with it, some comedy with Joe Hendry. You're going to get some good stuff there. And yeah, and it would be funny because I could easily have done Mustafa Ali for the North American title and have him win. But I'm not going to do that. And then I also thought about kind of just doing all these all these ex-WWE guys representing TNA versus the current NXT talent. I thought about that too. And you do have some names because Mustafa Ali is one of those ex-WWE guys. You also had, I could have done Eric Young. I mean, I could have done a bunch of people because there's a bunch there. But I'm sticking with this little lineup here because I just thought, well, we got to get all of these names on my show. This is literally I just need to get these people on the show match. All right. You're seeing right through my booking. Oh God. Like I said, glad I don't do this for a living. And for this 8-man tag, I would have Team TNA go over on this one. All right. This next one. This is another for the sickos. I'm disgusting for this, but I don't care. In a street fight, I may add, I want to see Tony D'Angelo versus, you'll never guess. You'll never guess. Take a second to guess. You probably didn't get it. All right. PCO is the answer that I was looking for. Also, I just realized this show practically became Dora the Explorer because now I'm talking to the audience anyways, have you seen Dora the Explorer? You know what I'm talking about. Fudge, and I'm wearing pink. Damn. All right. Come on, vamonos. Let's continue on with this video. All right. So Tony D'Angelo versus PCO in a street fight. Now, some of you guys are going, Denise, really? You freak? Well, I decided to go with this match because Tony D'Angelo, all of his best matches have had some sort of stipulation. They've been some form of a street fight or a street fight. I don't remember all the matches he's been in, but they've always needed the smoke and mirrors, right? Now, PCO is one of my favorite people on TNA because He's freaking crazy. He's not human. He's going to get a pop out of the crowd each and every single match. So mix these two in together, and we're going to have a fun little street fight match that will get reactions from the crowd. You watch and see. So for that reason, that's why I would book Tony D'Angelo versus PCO. I told you, I'm disgusting. And for this street fight, I would have Tony D'Angelo go over in this match. All right, moving on. The next match, going back to some women's wrestling. As I mentioned, I'm not booking Roxanne and Jordynne because that's legitimately happening in real life. So I decided to do Jordynne Grace versus Lola Vice. I know. So the reason why I went with this was because we all know Jordynne Grace is so freaking aggressive. Like, she is so intense in the ring. I wanted her to be in there with someone that would sort of match that intensity in their own way. Now, I don't want to compare Lola Vice to Jordynne Grace, but I also don't want to discredit Lola Vice, because if you've seen Lola Vice wrestle, she always feels like she's going to the max. Always. And she makes you believe every time that she's in the ring that she legitimately hates her opponent. And so for that reason, I thought, ooh, I want to see Lola Vice. I want to see her fire against Jordynne Grace's fire. And because of that, that is why I want to see this match. Two girls that they're so different. And I would have Jordynne Grace win this match, of course, because I don't know, she just should. So I would stick with Jordynne Grace winning this. And of course, it would be for the Knockouts Championship, because she is the Knockouts champion. Okay, so moving on for this next match, I would do, because these two guys are fast and can do some some very cool high-flying shit, I would go with Nathan Frazier versus Rich Swann. Yup, that's the match I would book, just to see what the hell these two guys would come up with. I want to be surprised in this match. I want to see what cool stuff they cook up. That's really the only reason I would do this match. And for the win, I would have I don't really care who wins this match. I just want to see what freaky shit they do. So I'm gonna go with I would have Rich Swann win this match. Cool. Moving on. More women's matches, because we need them for sure. This would be for the NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez. So again, I started thinking, like, who is one of my favorite women that they have over on TNA? And one of the ones that I'm always impressed by is Giselle Shaw. I think Giselle Shaw is very entertaining in the ring. I really like her style, and I would like to see what that would look like against Roxanne Perez. So I would definitely book Giselle Shaw versus Roxanne Perez, with Roxanne, of course, winning, looking strong as your NXT Women's Champion. All right, so this next one, as you might have noticed earlier, I booked Nathan Frazier in a singles match, which means that his tag team partner, Axiom, I know I decided to separate them for this booking. It's fine, no big deal. For this one, I decided to do something a little bit different here. So, of course, we need to see the Rascalz reunion somehow, some way. Like, you need to see Wesley, Trey Miguel, and Zachary Wentz together. Like, that just needs to happen. If they did a TNA NXT pay-per-view and they didn't have the Rascalz all together, people would legitimately be like, what the F? Why would you do that? So I decided to do the Rascalz versus Axiom, teaming up with Ace Austin and Chris Bay. That's just the way that I put it all together. I think that would be really fun. You get your spots. You'll have some good tag team wrestling. It'll be fun. And of course, I would have the Rascalz go over on this one, which technically counts as both an NXT and a TNA win. So I don't know how that would work, but it would work. It works in this video, all right? All right, and last but not least, my main event. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, who's going to be in Denise's main event? This is going to be the most Denise match ever. And of course, that is going to be for the NXT Championship, Trick Williams versus my favorite person on TNA Wrestling, the person that I think is brilliant in the ring, and I just love watching his matches. That, my friends, is Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander would have a hell of a match with Trick Williams. We all know it. And I mean, I don't know what to say. This match would just be so good, and Trick Williams would look so good in there with Josh Alexander. And that's really the only reason why. I just know this would be a good match and Josh Alexander would make Trick Williams look great. Trick Williams, of course, would retain the NXT championship. Cool with me, guys. Cool with me. So there you go. I don't really have any other brilliant reasons as to why I would book that main event, but there you go. That is my fantasy TNA Wrestling versus NXT card that I just came up with. Let me know if you love it, like it, or hate it in the comments section below. If you hate it, be nice. And let me know what matches you would book and which ones you thought were actually a kind of a good idea in the comments section below. All right, that's a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, guys. I have surpassed 160,000 subscribers here on the channel. Thank you so freaking much. My goal is 200K, and ideally, I'd like to get there by the end of the year. Realistically, I don't know if I can, but it all starts with making videos. So here's one hoping to gain some more subscribers and loyal viewers. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.